30 minutes of pure entertainment with musicians, writers, and actors to motivators, chefs, and even rappers to up-and-comings with the it factor. It's the Jazzie KWard coming at ya. Have fun, some smiles, a few laughs. Tune in, chime in, sit back, relax. Have fun, some smiles, a few laughs.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of Jazzie After Dark Artist Talk. I'm your host, Jazzie KWard. So glad to be here with you. So glad to see your beautiful faces in the building. Come on in the room, as we say on the show, right? Don't forget to go over to KWard Radio, which is my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the page. Subscribe, y'all. KWardRadio.com is the website. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you don't do any of that, you know, as we say on the show, right? Shame on you. Our special guest tonight, I'm super excited to talk with singer, songwriter. He's a producer. He's an A&R executive. And if you don't know my brother, SiFred Mitchell, shame on you. But you're going to get to know him tonight a little bit more up close and personal. Of course, Dr. G is in the house. We're so excited, as always, to see her. And Chef D is also in the house running things, as always. So you know what? Let's go ahead and kick off the show right now.
Live from WKRW, welcome to Artist Talk, a live one-on-one conversation with your host, the man with the golden voice, Jazzie KWard.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Jazzie KWard, and you are tuned into another edition of Artist Talk. I'm so excited to see you. Hey, my friend Colleen, who's always here each and every Monday. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you to each and every one of you that join in the show. Whether you stop by for a few minutes or you stay the entire time, I promise you, it does not go unnoticed. I see each and every one of you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you so much for supporting the guests and the artists that come right here on the show each and every Monday. It's all about support. Hey, Regina, don't forget to put in the comments section where you are watching from and all that jazz. And hopefully maybe tonight we can give away something. Who knows? A little surprise to give some people. I know we have a lot we're celebrating this month. So it's Happy Pride Month. It's June is also Black Music Month, and it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I'm sure it's a whole bunch of other stuff, right, that I'm probably missing. So if you can think of something, make sure you go ahead and put it there in the comment section, okay? I see a lot of people coming in the room. And again, if you have questions or comments for our guests tonight, make sure you post them in the comment section. I promise we will do our best to answer those for you. So let me tell you a little bit about our special guest tonight. So, you know, for him growing up in New York City, like Harlem, Brooklyn, Jamaica, Queens, and being influenced by the likes of the incomparable like Luther Vandross, Donny Hathaway, El DeBarge, That's just to name a few, right? So, having attended NYC's Julia Richmond's Talent Unlimited High School, which cultivated successful for careers for alumni like Malik Yoba, Lawrence Fishburne, Mos Def, Sheila E., Kadeem Hardison, and the list goes on. That's right. I'm telling you about our special guest tonight. So, after initially starting off as a background singer in the music industry and going on tour with artists like LL Cool J, Mary J. Blige, Shabba Ranks, some of everybody, right? So he's also worked, and then he found out, hey, you know what? I want to further my career maybe a little bit. So he's A&R department executive. He also worked with MCA Records, which is now Geffen Records, which worked with other greats like Nikki Gilbert, formerly of the platinum-selling group Brownstone, Mary J. Blige, Avant Shanté Moore, and the list goes on. Also, continuing to educate himself in the business is very important. We always talk about the business and taking care of your business. So that's another things we're going to talk about. So that's why our next guest, producer, singer-songwriter, and our executive, SiFred Mitchell, has that it factor. You know, and let's welcome to the Artist Talk. Come on. What's up, my brother?
Hey, Jazzie, how are you?
That's good, my brother. Good. I see, you know, you got a hat on. I got a hat on. You know, I'm just trying to.
I'm feeling inspired.
I like that shirt. I like that. All about inspiration, all about encouragement, all about positivity. We need all of that, my brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, man. It's been a long time coming.
Man, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. And I remember I called you like, SiFred, what you doing Monday? I need to, you know, I was like, I'm moving some things around. And thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be able to accommodate and come on the show. I appreciate that.
Brother, it's my pleasure. You have an amazing platform. You know, your platform just allows so many wonderfully talented musicians, singers, you know, people in the entertainment world to just come have a conversation with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I like it.
You know, I appreciate it. You know, I've been watching you a long time, and I was like, again, you know, I believe everything happens in the time it should happen, right?
Yeah.
You know, I have you and so many other artists that on this calendar right here in this wall, and it's like, okay, I have to have them on the show, but when is it going to be the time that I'm going to be able to get them on the show? So again, because you are an amazing guy, your gift is amazing. You have a lot of things you can share with us. Hey, a lot of artists that may pop on here, you know. See, we live, y'all. That's okay. You know, that's okay. So I'm so glad. So don't forget, everyone, the website will be streaming there. You'll find SiFred, his website will be listed there. Go check out some music. But before we get into the show, SiFred, so I do this segment called The Real You.
Okay.
And it's just some random questions I choose for our guests to just find out a little bit more about you and who you are as a person. So my first question for you is, well, I had something right here, but a lot of times now I think of this stuff off the top of my head, right? So let's look over this. So let's see. Tell me one thing that you could say has been your biggest regret. Do you have any biggest regrets? Like, I don't think I will ever do that again.
Oh wow, that's a loaded question because on one hand, there's so many things that that happen in a person's journey in life that leads them to where they are in the moment. You know, it could be a positive thing, or it could be an adverse thing, and people start saying, "Oh, well, I should have done this, I shouldn't have that." But quite honestly, I don't think I would have. I don't have any regrets. A lot of the things that have occurred on this journey only prepared me for what I'm currently doing now. And I will say that I wish I would have appreciated the journey more.
More. Okay. Okay.
Because I think in the moment of doing things, you don't tend to really, soak in all of the information, all of the experiences that you acquire along the way. Sometimes I tended to be in the moment, really quickly, and I didn't really enjoy or relish in what was happening.
Okay.
Before I knew it, just time flew by.
Okay. I understand that. Trust me. I understand that. Trust me. I do understand that. Another question: what was your favorite thing to do as a kid?
Run.
Right.
Well, in New York City, I ran track in high school. Well, some high school, but I just used to like play video games,
Okay.
and just run around the trains in New York City. I used to go from Brooklyn to Harlem, Harlem to Queens. Queens. I grew up in all three of those
Okay.
boroughs in the city, so
Okay.
I just used to like to explore the city. Even if I've lived there, there still was so much I didn't see or get to explore. So I was always moving and shaking.
All
So
right. I like that. Okay. That's good. I was going to ask you this one question, but sometimes, well, I'm not going to ask this one. I'm not going to ask that one because it
what?
could be kind of a great question. And
Go for
okay. So looking at the scope of your life, right, where you are now, who has been your biggest supporter?
it. Ooh. Well, I think in my family, there's some family members that didn't really support the journey into music.
Mhm.
My children, my family, uh, mom, dad, all of that stuff. But I have a lot of really good friends, people that you adopt as family along the way. Families that you create along the way. So my biggest supporters are my musical friends, my musical
Okay.
family, people that I know that are musicians,
Mhm.
singers that encourage and motivate me to just be the best at what I do, whether or not I'm doing it.
Right.
They'll still be there, so they motivate me to excel and succeed more. But I will say my family for
Your
sure.
family. I love that. And family is so important, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm thinking all aspects of life. And, as I know, some people, it may not necessarily be your blood family. Some people, it could be, again, some of your musical friends, just some friends you met along the way that have really been supportive. And I think maybe the older I have gotten, that's right, Sheila, extended family are wonderful. And,
Absolutely.
as you get older in life, my mom used to say this thing. She said, well, son, just keep on living and you're going to discover a lot of things in life. Now I sound like I'm old. Now I'm just like, if you ever listen to some things maybe your parents have said, and as you get older, SiFred, you found yourself saying
hmm
it.
I,
Mhm.
I I say that all the time. But you know what? In hindsight, I've always kind of been a loner in a way. I know a lot of people, but I don't have that many like very close friends. I have a lot of really good friends,
Mhm.
acquaintances, but I've been a loner for the most part. I stay to myself. Uh, so I kind of been my own champion because I've seen things that have happened along the way, and I'm
Mhm.
like, that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen.
Right.
So, but I believe in myself a lot. I never allowed myself to get discouraged to the point where I just say, throw my hands up, throw in the white, wave the white flag. I don't do that. I
Yeah.
love music. I love everything about music. I
Mhm.
find solace, I find comfort in the melodies, in the songs that I've written or created, or other artists that I work with. I love the creative process.
Right.
So I believe in myself. So I think I've been my biggest supporter. You have to
Right.
believe in yourself first in
Right.
order to be in this game.
Right. Well, and thank you so much for asking those questions. The real you. That wasn't too bad, was it?
I hope not.
That was great. It was great. So bro, what do you think you would if all music stopped tomorrow? How do you think that would affect you? If after tomorrow there was just no more music?
I'd have to create some new music. We have to create an outlet. Music heals, music inspires, music encourages, and I don't think without music this world would be at peace at all.
No.
You know, at all. You know, music is just one of those things that it's the nucleus. It brings us in. Of course, having faith too. You know, we all have, you know, a higher power that we believe in, but music also, you bring that in, and it's healing. I I can't even think about that having no music.
Just music, because you think about music and food brings us together.
This is true. This is
something.
True.
I don't care if it's a family reunion, a funeral, music and food. Hey, it's medicine. As Chantel said, Sheila said, it's for your soul.
Oh, for your soul. For your soul.
It's all for your soul. So as we know, SiFred, you know, June is Black Music Month. And do you do anything typical, say, for Black Music Month?
What I try to do is I try to explore and get into new music in all genres, whether it's country, whether it's, you know, international, whether it's, you know, all kinds of music. I try to learn new stuff, you know, listen to new people, new sounds. You know what I mean? I think you have to continue to educate yourself, and so I try to learn, not just in Black Music Month in June, but just year round, but more so because it just so happens that it being Black Music Month, we celebrate, you know, the old with the current with the new, you know. So I try to discover new stuff.
Right.
You know, I spend a lot of time doing that.
Right. I tell people that is so important. It's like, as much music as I listen to every day. Of course, we won't be able to listen to everything, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so much music. So I always try to discover or even share with friends and say, hey, do you know this artist? Do you know SiFred Mitchell? I've never heard of him. Well, check out this Spotify playlist right here. Check out this website. And I think, because, you know, we can get so in our comfort zones, right? We always have that go-to, that music we always listen to, that's on repeat, right? But you know what? Supposing, you know, when you go to these places, a lot of times, that's why a lot of times, you know, I know we're promoters, and when we do these, say, jazz concerts, these R&B concerts, and when we work on stuff here, it's always the same people, which I'm not going to understand that you have to have a headliner. But there's so many talented, gifted artists that don't get the opportunity, right, to get at some of these jazz fests or on some of these stages. And, you know, typically I wouldn't ask you this question until later on that. What do you think is going to have to change about that? Or do you think you have to create your own? Like some artists, you may like, hey, you may have to put on your own event and promote yourself. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it has to work in tandem. You have to work with opportunities and platforms that's already accessible to you, or that you could try to be a part of, you know. But it's just like the industry. If opportunities, if the doors are closed on you, or if there seems to be challenges and obstacles, then you have to create your own avenue. You know, you have to create your own lane, your own niche. You know, musically. You want to be inspired by, we're all inspired by other people that came before us, you know, but then you also want to be able to, you know, do your own thing. Otherwise, you'll just be, and I told this to a lot of artists that I work with, or, you know, whose projects I work on, you know, you want to be able to be one of a few. You don't, otherwise you'll be like hundreds of thousands of other people doing the exact same thing. What's going to set you apart? What's going to make you stand out? How are you going to broaden the scope of your brand? So you have to create those moments for you, you know?
That's right. That's right. That's so important. And just going back over your career, I mean, you're a producer, you're a singer, you're a songwriter, you are a A&R executive, but just starting back in the beginning, how did it all start for you? I know I read a little bit about how you got started, but, you know, I mean, man, you have worked with, you know, Mary J. Blige, SWV. I mean, the list goes on. TLC, Bobby Brown, Queen Latifah, all these people. Was like, so how did it all start for you?
That's funny. Well, I'll keep it as condensed as I can. But, you know, it all started at, like you said earlier, you know, I attended Julia Richmond Talent Unlimited High School in Manhattan, in New York. And it's a performing arts high school. You know, we had, you know, performing arts and music on our high school. But at the time that I attended, you know, Julia Richmond had a program that allowed the students to travel, you know, to different corporate events and educational places. You know, Alexander's was our sponsor at the time as well. And I worked in, I was a performer in the musical theater department, and the musical theater and the dance department and the band, we all toured throughout the city, nursing homes or corporate events. And it was doing that I met a gentleman by the name of Gregory Forbes, who played piano for the gospel play Mama I Want to Sing. Okay. And he was our piano teacher at the school. But after school, he would go to the, you know, to do the play, and he would always recruit the women. One day he approached me and said that they were recruiting a couple of singers for the choir, and no roles or anything like that, just a member of the choir, and invited me. I came, and that's when the bug hit me a little bit more. After doing that, once I graduated from high school, you know, I was approached to open up for Allison Williams at the Palladium in New York, which I did. And then I ended up going on tour doing spot dates. And spot dates, I didn't do the full tour, but I would do certain selected cities. And then one thing led to another. That ended up being the trickle effect, where I would go on to do spot dates for different artists. And I did the Getaway tour with Bobby Brown, TLC, Shabba Ranks, and Mary. And I did backgrounds on spot dates for Mary and Bobby. So, and then that just trickled into that. Then from there, one of my friends that I attended high school with, James Jones Jr., he ended up working at Uptown Records. So, you know, and I didn't know that, but when we ran across each other, we talked for a little bit, and he pretty much said where he was working. He was working with Albie Shore and Guy and all those people. And then I was like, well, I want to be down. Hook a brother up. You know, I think I was like 20, 21 or something like that. And sure enough, you know, he exposed me to producers, executives, writers. And that's when you have to start learning how to be a sponge. You have to be a student. You have to, you know, pay attention, learn things along the way. Some things, you know, went above my head, and, you know, you got in different aspects of the business. But there's a learning curve to that. And then I ended up going on tour with Marlon and LaToya Jackson in Europe, and I spent 13 months out there. We did, you know, Paris, London, Germany, Switzerland, you know, a couple other countries. And while I was there, I had a friend of mine who I had been really good friends with for 13 years, maybe. And we were in a group together. We were a duo, then a trio, then a duo. But he was working at MCA Records, and invited me to, you know, to come, you know, recommended me to come work there. I met Don Pooh, who was working at MCA, working with Mary and a bunch of people, working with Nikki Gilbert, and the list goes on. And I learned from people at Universal Music Publishing, like Kim Jackson, royalty collections, and, you know, promotions, publicity, marketing. You know, you have to learn, you have to make friends, you have to socialize. And I did that thing. And then, of course, with the 20s, the early 2000s, mid 2000s, late 2000s, you know, social media started to happen, the internet, a lot of stuff happened. Labels downsized, they folded, they merged. People just, it became a different thing. They weren't making money like they used to. So I made a conscious decision to, you know, leave the labels that I was working with. I went from MCA, Geffen, Atlantic, you know, and some independent labels at that time, to start my own thing. I figured I learned enough tools in 20 years to, you know, work with independent artists and help them put their artist projects together. So that's how that ended up being where I'm at now, doing the independent A&R consulting thing. While doing that, though, I met a lot of producers that I was a fan of, you know, that I just loved their songs that they worked with SWV. They worked with Faith. They worked with Mary. They worked with Ann Nesby. So those friends, those producers became friends of mine and acquaintances. I met Herb Middleton, who worked with Mary, Ron Lawrence, who was a bad boy hitman, and I got into this, wrote songs to their tracks. Didn't get any placements. I don't have a track record like that. But just the mere fact that I knew people who trusted my pen game enough to say, you know what, let's write. I think you're dope, especially Herb Middleton. I give him a lot of credit because he was one of the first people that I met 20 years ago who was like, hey, especially now where he's like, yo, I didn't know you wrote. I didn't know you sang. Let's work. And he trusted my pen, and we did a bunch of records together, as well as Ron Lawrence and Kenny Smooth, who worked with Intro and Mary. I worked with him in Atlanta. So now that's where I'm at now. I didn't have the confidence to be a singer. I was a background singer for so long, and then I shifted gears to doing artist development and brand management. I didn't sing for 18 years until the past 10 years. I got back into writing and singing. And now I manage a couple of artists that will be out very soon and will be on your show having a conversation with you.
I can't wait.
So I hope I said it. I hope I there's so much that I could say, but I know, I wanted to keep it as short as I could.
Well, hey, we definitely appreciate that. Even your expertise and your experience, because one thing I like that you mentioned in all of that is that when you were talking about the business, knowing the business and building relationships, that is so important in this career. I just think in life general, right, is building connection. Because now, is it necessarily important to say, hey, an artist needs to be on a label? I don't know if that's not really that important. Like, because you have so many artists that are independent that are making it. I'm looking at, what's his name? What's the rapper name? Is it Chicago?
Chance?
He's from Chicago. Yes.
Chance the Rapper.
Chance the Rapper. Look at him.
Well, here's the thing. That's a two-folded question, because there's advantages of having a major label back you, especially when you have a lot of independent artists that a lot of it boils down to finance, money. While things can be very cost effective and you can cut corners and you can barter with people and, but there's a reach a lot of times that a lot of the indie creatives don't have. It depends on the type of artist you want to be. Right now, everybody wants Beyonce money. They want Jay-Z money. They want Chris Brown money. But it's a lot of work that goes into getting that kind of money. And because of the internet, because of social media, there's so many platforms and companies that are whether it's a marketing and promotions company, publicity companies, you got producers that they're pretty dope, but they lease their beats online. You know what I mean? You can lease beats and you could get 10 tracks for $99, or whatever the case, and then do a whole album. But I said I have to say that, it depends on what your trajectory is, and it's not easy. The royalty performance rights collections is very different now than it was back then. They're not making money like they used to. Records aren't selling like they used to. 20 years ago, you can buy the hard copies because it was only available in the store. So you had to spend either the $9.99 for that week or the $15.99 wholesale price, after that week. And these labels were recouping the money that they were investing. And once they saw that they weren't, because of the internet and iTunes, you can preview an album on iTunes. And if you only like track 2 and track 7, then you're really only spending $2 and some change. And if the label isn't making back their money, then you're going to be owing them. So, but a lot of artists today, you can do a lot. You become popular, that brings other areas of revenue, whether it's shows and sponsorships, and you can be an influencer now. It's just a lot of things where you can make more money, and it makes it look like you're doing all of this because you're singing or rapping, but no, it's coming from other things that made you popular, that's going to bring all of that money to supplement what you're not making sales wise. So, and the streams don't match what, I think it's, actually Herb Middleton did this. He posted this the other day and I didn't know it, but it's like X amount of billions of streams ends up being like 200,000 or something like that. Oh. You're really not, when people say, oh, I got 1 million streams, there's no money there for that. Wow. 1 million streams ain't $1 million. It's really nothing. It's a lot of hard work. It really is, but it's still advantageous. You can still be successful as an independent artist in a whole lot of other ways. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah,
because I think there's so many other ways. Even if you're an artist, like you can probably make money, even if you're just an independent recording artist. Now with technology, I mean, hey, I always tell people, hey, like Sheila said, think outside the box. If you have to get online, and a lot of people are streaming, so Fred, hey, do a concert live. Hey, tell people, I don't know, pay $5 or hey, support. Why if you do a live video, I think when you're in this business, you have to be present, right? You have to do social media. I know a lot of artists, a lot of fishes like, I don't want to do that. Well, I don't really know how you're going to be seen a lot, because I understand some people, they're like, I don't really do social media a lot, but I think it's important to collaborate, and it's important to build relationship. It's important to know your business in this industry. And I was going to ask you one question. What's one thing you can say that that has really taught you a lot about being in this business?
Trust my instincts.
Okay.
Trust my instincts. Listen, I love the music industry. I love the business of music. There's a lot of things, just like in any business, in any corporation, in any athletic event, any industry that you're in, there's going to be some bad apples or a good percentage of bad apples. I happen to have come across a bunch of bad apples that I learned some very valuable lessons that I will never ever repeat in life. But that's still not going to discourage me from being in the business that I love. You just have to find yourself with people that believe in you, that support you, that encourage and motivate you to do well, that you trust, you know what I mean, that you can build with, so it's been a learning curve. It really has. And I'm not, all of this is new for me, you know what I mean? But I love what I do so much that I've learned to appreciate the talent, the gifts that I have, the creativity that I have, and I do well doing it for others. And now I'm applying it to myself. Even if it's a one-off, working on my own project, I'm doing it. I have an artist that I'm developing. I got to give a quick shout out to Jason Rutley, because he's an inspirational soul gospel artist that I'm working with, and a lot of things that I'm putting into him, it's kind of hard. Like, I haven't learned how to do it for me. So, and because I'm older, it's different. When you're 52, I'm 52. So, it's a different level of work that you have to put in, because the expectation is going to be, well, he's 52. He ain't going to sell no records, or he's not that good. But my records are good. I got a lot of gas left in my tank. There's a chart for every genre on Billboard. You can do well in whatever you choose. I'm not going to do Chris Brown handstands and Usher side glides and backflips, but I'm still going to do records that move me, that are authentically genuine and heartfelt. And I think when people see the authenticity in what you're doing, they're going to want that. You know what I mean? Fans, don't underestimate the fans. Fans know when you're real and when you're not. And social media, we need platforms like Jazzie KWard's platform. If they're not on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, then how are people going to know you? You still have, if you don't use those platforms, then you have to go out and let people know who you are.
That's right.
Otherwise, you're not going to be successful.
That's true. So here's a question from Sheila. She said, how many countries have you performed in over the years?
Ooh. I have been to 18 countries on 3 different continents.
Wow.
Yeah. I've done a lot overseas. In the United States, I've been to a lot of the states. I've been to a lot of the major cities like Philly, Chicago, of course, New York, all of the event spaces, venues in New York, like Sweetwater's, the Village Underground, the Blue Note, all of the main musical venues I've done. But overseas, I've done a lot of stuff on 3 different continents. So, yeah.
I love that. I want to ask you something about those venues, but I'm going to take a break, and we're going to have more conversation with producer, singer, songwriter, A&R consultant SiFred Mitchell, who is our special guest tonight right here on Artist Talk. I'm Jazzie KWard, your host. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with more conversation right after this.
This is jazz bassist Brendan Rothwell. My friend Jazzie KWard hosts the show Artist Talk every Monday evening at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can tune in and watch Jazzie's show on Facebook Live and YouTube. Jazzie is a great supporter of independent artists, and each week you can tune in to hear him chat with one of those artists and also hear the latest and greatest from the smooth and contemporary jazz worlds. It's important to Jazzie that his audience continues to grow, and it's important to the artists that he works with that their audience also continues to grow. So, Facebook Live or YouTube, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time every Monday evening, or hashtag shame on you.
Hey everyone, thank you so much, my friend, Mr. Brendan Rothwell. Tonight, our special guest is producer, singer, songwriter, A&R consultant, Mr. SiFred Mitchell. And if you don't know this, brother, shame on you. Shame on you. So hopefully you get to learn a little bit more about him. Don't forget to go over to his website, which is also streaming, also right there. Check out his website, buy some music, go to his Spotify playlists, like his, like the Spotify playlist, buy some music. And before we do that, SiFred, you were talking about the different venues that you performed at, right, across the U.S. Maybe for some artists, independent artists, maybe watching this show, whoever watches the replay of this show, what does it take for artists to even be featured at some of those festivals? Any guidance or words of wisdom or direction? Maybe what does it take for artists to get on those platforms?
Well, in New York, the open mic circuit is pretty open. I mean, of course, you have your hosts, you go in, to one of those venues, and you sign the list, and the host will call you up and tell the band what you want to sing, and so it's not really a bad thing to do. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to do that. I don't know how it is. A lot of other states they do things differently, but I know in New York, you go to the Village Underground, you go to Cafe Wa, you go to Groove, you go to Lord, some of the other ones that I went to, they're closed now. But you go there, you sign up, and they'll call you. You do a song, and and you consistently do that. That's exposure. That's making people see who you are. And the more you do it, the better you're able to perfect your craft. Because I've seen a lot of people that think, oh, I'm gonna knock this out the park, but don't know one thing about performing, or working with a band. It's different when you go into a studio and cut records, but do you know how to perform the records? Do you know how to lead the band? So it's not that big a thing. I've done stuff in Atlanta too, a lot of the open mic spots. So it's just exposure.
Yeah, that's something that's so true, because how you have some singers, it's like maybe they're good in the studio. That's a whole different thing when you're live. Like I love like the Essence Festival. Just hanging out in New Orleans. That is a different thing, and being an artist and you got a whole band behind you and they're supposed to like follow, I guess, the artist lead, that's a whole different other kind of, arrangement. I guess, I don't know if that's the correct word to use in it, but, and everybody doesn't have that.
And you got to get with good promoters, good music promoters. You know, you have to be very particular too. You can't, it's not just anybody, because, you know, things don't always work out the way it's supposed to. You know, and you don't want to get got. So be very careful, do your research, you know, look at, you know, the statistics behind the promoters and how well their shows do and the reception that people, you know, give them, how well they've done. But those types of shows are very different from when you do an open mic. An open mic, if you go to a nightclub, you eat food, you drink, you know, it's a very smaller, intimate venue than, let's just say, if you did a show at, you know, Radio City, or, you know, at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. If somebody's promoting a show, you could, if you're known, if you're established, if you have a following, if you're able to sell out a night, or, you know, bring butts to the seats, you know, that's a different scenario, and the production level is different. You know, you know, the production level, you know, the performance and production level at an open mic is different. You have musicians that are there; it's smaller, but then you're looking at other things. You're looking at lighting and microphones and sounds and monitors. You know, engineers. You know, when I did BB King's in New York, that was a wonderful honor to be at BB King's, and their establishment was it was a supper club, but it was still much bigger than doing a smaller open mic venue. So,
okay, I love that. And real quick, I know I'm going a little bit over time. We have Dr. I want to show a clip of SiFred, y'all. He was performing, and then I asked him where he was performing at. So, hey, let's check out this this clip from SiFred Mitchell right here on Artist Talk.
Never too much for me. Never too much. When I think about you, all I wanna do is make sweet love, 'cause you're never too much for me. Never too much for me. Never, never, never.
I was back there singing. I mean, whoa. Real quick, before I go to break,
they missed the cue. They missed the cue.
It was like, you remember David Peetson, right?
Yes.
When I heard you sing that, it's just, I don't like to compare, but I hear similarities in his voice and your voice. I was like, oh, he's giving me like that David Peetson, like you took your time, the way you sung, the notes and all that. But we'll talk a little bit more, y'all, about that. But go ahead.
I'm sorry. That night was funny because that was a performance I did at BB King's in New York through the Singers Room. Event, and Latasha Scott from Escape and Kenny Lattimore were the headliners of that night. So, and I was one of the opening performers for that. Wow. And I didn't really have a lot of time to rehearse. And on stage, it was just funny. I had everything ready, picked out, the whole outfit, the whole 9 yards. But the stylist, I was in New York. The stylist was flying from LA a day after me. And when we did sound check, they had just landed at the airport, and we were 20 minutes from start time for me,
Wow.
and they wouldn't have gotten here on time, so I had to get on there with an Adidas tracksuit and perform. And the background singers just learned the backgrounds within 15 to 20 minutes before the show started. So, but I'm a professional. I kept it professional. You know, we improvise, and and part of the experience that I had doing backgrounds is that I learned how to lead the singers and the band in what I was expecting them to do, and I'm glad that it worked out pretty good.
Okay. It did. It loved it. That's what it's been. You know what? The show must go on. You just have to just make it happen, right?
Absolutely.
So hey, so for, again, we're gonna go now to Dr. G, Dr. Chantel Graham, with Mind, Body, and Soul, and we'll be right back with more great conversation with our special guests, singer-songwriter SiFred Mitchell.
It's time for Health and Wellness Check-In with Dr. Chantel Graham. Tips for the mind, body, and soul.
Dr. G.
You know I had my mic ready. We could be his backup singers.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, that's what I'm saying.
And I won't miss the cue. I won't miss no cue.
Dr. G, I'm loving you. You like you got something new going on back there.
A little lighted together. Everybody trying to be professional. Y'all not gonna outdo me. Listen, I'm not gonna play this game with y'all. I got so wrapped into this conversation. I forgot what I was supposed to be doing here today. Hey, Costello. Okay, so we're gonna make it weird. We're gonna do a little quiz, but you're not gonna do the one that's real long. I'm gonna throw out, and everybody can participate. I want you guys to name what I'm speaking of. We talked about it before, but not quite. Hi, Colleen. Hi, Miss Slater. So we think of things that's gonna get us healthy. We always think of these nice, great fruits and vegetables and all kind of food. So it's this one food that you can use daily, and it's going to help. It's anti-inflammatory, so it's going to get rid of that inflammation. It's going to help with heart disease. It's going to help with depression, anxiety, mental health. It's going to help with digestion. It's going to help with oral health. It's going to settle your stomach sometimes. It's going to help with nausea and vomiting. It has good omega-3s, good omega-6. It even has protein in it. Can you guess what that fruit is? I'll give you guys a couple of seconds while I file my fingernail.
Somebody said grapefruit.
Keep going.
Pomegranate.
Nope. See, the problem is we think too big. We think of fruits and vegetables and meats and stuff. All that comes out of that one little seasoning called allspice. So remember, allspice is from a shrub plant, and it has a combination of cinnamon, cloves, juniper, pepper, and nutmeg. And that little bit of spice, just a sprinkle, will give you all that in one thing. No, Monica, it's not a lemon. It's just good old-fashioned allspice that you can use. Now remember, this also relieves different. They use it for toothaches. It's good for topical pain. They will put allspice on your gums and your teeth to relieve toothaches.
Oh.
Simple allspice. It has protein. It has good omega-3s. It has good omega-6. It helps with depression. Just be careful too, because if you're allergic to it, it can go from 0 to 60. It goes from a basic rash all the way to having a seizure. So just be careful. Now, if you're taking an anticoagulant, which means if you're having issues with your blood, coagulating, and you need something that's going to be a blood thinner, if you're taking any type of blood thinner, you should not be eating allspice. Yes, allspice is a great spice because you can put it in water and make a tea with it, and it helps with circulation. So it will thin the blood out. No, Alexandra, it's not cayenne pepper, but you guys were close. You were thinking about spice. You was good, but no, it's actually allspice. So remember, if you're taking blood thinners, do not eat a lot of allspice because it just makes your blood thin and you'll have issues with bleeding. So just grab some good old spices. That's it. You'll be good.
I love that. I love that. Doctor, we learn something for you each and every week. And so we anticipate that.
Oh, I have under the pressure. I got to figure something out. Now, also for women too, just a little hint, women, If you having any issues with menopause symptoms like me who have hot flashes, allspice is good for that as well. But what you do is you fan yourself with Nia the Germinator. Shameless plug, yes, it is. But I'm gonna throw it in there anyway.
I love it. I love and please tell us about the book Nia the Germinator.
You know, she fights those 4 germ brothers, Backie the bacteria, Frank the fungus, Vic the virus, and Purdy the protozoa. So when all works out, she'll have her second book out this fall coming up. Grab your copy, don't be shy. I know y'all don't want to pay shipping, so I will settle for a little love on Amazon or Goodreads or Barnes & Nobles, but you can email me directly or go to my website, and I'll send you an autographed copy. But you will pay for shipping.
Right. Yeah, I was going to tell you also, you know, I asked you this for all of our guests, you know, in the OR, SiFred Mitchell, he's on Spotify. You know, I need y'all to add him in the OR.
I have to let some of my little staff know if they don't get on this line tonight, I was going to fire everybody. So I have Alex on here. I got my friend Jazzie on here. Everybody on here. Everybody gonna get fired tomorrow, but we will have this bumping at work tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. But we need to have them bumping.
Fred, listen, 52 ain't old. But if he want to be Chris Brown, I'm on stage. I know a good doctor. 2 forms of ID and and insurance card. We'll see him. Bring him on.
That's right. That's right. You could be SiFred, you know, his personal doctor when he travels on tour. Take Dr. G with you.
And I could be a backup singer.
And hey.
Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it.
I love it, Dr. G. And Dr. G, can you stick around?
I'm here for the whole thing. I got wrapped up. God, I'm supposed to be doing. Give me some more of this good conversation. Put my feet up.
I appreciate you, my friend. Y'all follow Dr. G, and Dr. G, let them know on social media what's the best way to find you.
Instagram, you can do the app Life, or you can do Dr. Shawnee 0730. Follow, like, and share. Because if you ask why I'm not rich, it's because you didn't share my shit.
That's what you say. I like that, Dr. G. As always, my friend, thank you so much.
All right, see you soon.
Okay, bye. Yeah, we love Dr. G each and every Monday. Go get the book, Nia the Germinator. I'm telling you, you will love this book. Nia and her little germ friends. I'm telling you, go get it. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, our special guest tonight is producer, singer, songwriter, A&R consultant, Mr. SiFred Mitchell. Let's bring him back into the room. Let's bring him back into the room. There we go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm changing PCPs right now. I'm on the phone with Care Plus. I'm trying to get Dr. G.
That's right. That's right. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, she could be. She could be my background singer, but then also give me fluids in the back.
Give you some fluid, and she will do that. She will definitely do that. I love it. I love it. And so, you know what? I'm just, I'm sitting here, it's like a teleprompter in front of me. My producer always gets me. He said, you just don't follow nothing. You just like, I'm enjoying this conversation and I know we're like almost out of time. So I always have to ask you this. I need you to come back. Can you come back?
Absolutely.
And we do a part two to this conversation?
It's a lot of part 2 to happen because there's a lot going on right now. And I definitely want to share that.
And please share some of it with us. What do you have? Tell us about your new music that's available, that's streaming now too.
Well, my single "I Can't Believe" is currently on all digital platforms: Spotify, Amazon, iTunes. It's called "I Can't Believe," SiFred Mitchell. And in addition to that, I'm going to be releasing a remix EP of the single "I Can't Believe." So it'll have a ballad version, a house music version, hip hop R&B version. So it'll be a bunch of remixes for any and all fan bases out there, music bases out there. And in addition to that, I'm working on my album Rooftops, Fire Escapes, and Subway Cars, Volume 2, which will be out later towards the end of the year, maybe like around sometime in September. And in addition to that, my business partner, William Lockwood II, and myself are developing and managing an artist by the name of Jason Rutley. You can follow him on JRut Music on Instagram. That's JRUTMUSIC on Instagram. He's going to change your world. He's an inspiring artist with an amazing voice. You can follow me on Instagram at Keynote2117 on Instagram, Keynote2117. SiFred Mitchell on Facebook, TikTok, Keynote2117. But yeah, that's what we're working on, transitioning into television and film work, writing and developing scripts for a couple of shows and films that we're working on. So it's just a lot going on. But my artist, Jason Rutley, is our priority. And I promise you, within the next few weeks, the world will know who he is.
Oh, I can't wait for that. And I think before we...
Thank you, Khalid.
I think we have a snippet. Chef, do we have a snippet of SiFred's song? I think we have a snippet. I think I saw a message or something come down the teleprompter there where he said I think we got something.
Because this love is so right that I would never replace it. Ooh.
Hey, and I can't. So what is that song about? I can't believe.
You know, it's a song that pretty much explains that the relationship that people doubted wouldn't last, outlasted them.
Wow.
You know, so basically, I can't believe, what we got going on. It feels like a dream. So, it's so wonderful to always. I'm a lover of love, so I always write. Most of my songs are all about relationships, but the good stuff, hardly ever talk about the bad stuff. But I got a lot of bad stuff to talk about now. But I like love. I love R&B music. Luther Vandross has been my inspiration all of my life. So I like the love of music. So, but that song in particular is just about can't believe we made it and here we are, and we're going strong. So
I love that. Let me ask you: Do you think Black music is taken for granted?
Yes.
Why?
Because listen, that's a whole nother topic of show. But I will say that it's almost like that saying, why can't we have our own? Why can't we have our own? I'm a cultured person. I have two different cultures. I have the Puerto Rican culture, the Jamaican culture, the Caribbean culture in my blood. So, but you have other groups of people that take on us and what we do. But I do think it's been taken for granted. But everything evolves. Music has to evolve. There has to be, you have to be inspired from something, but then you also have to elevate it. That's why, like when I watch these shows like Top Chef, they say, well, how do you take this dish and elevate it? Well, same thing with music. How do you elevate something that we are already familiar with to make it transcend? I think it's underappreciated, especially on award shows and mainstream music. Everything has been watered down. Singing ain't what singing used to be. Back in the 80s, I knew the difference between Anita Baker, Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson, Oleta Adams, Luther, Freddie. Now, while music is great, production is great. Everything has to have its time and generational gaps, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes you can hear 5 different artists, male, or 5 different artists, female, and it's kind of hard to differentiate who's who.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I heard one record, I'm like, who is that? Is that so-and-so? No, that's so-and-so. Oh, okay. Sound like so-and-so. They all sound the same. So I don't think people appreciate the different aspects of R&B music like they used to. The minute you do a traditional R&B song, they're like, well, damn, that ain't what Chris Breezy's singing.
That's true.
It don't gotta be like Chris Brown, but there's you can still live and have a great life in adult contemporary, in jazz, R&B, in gospel. There's so many different layers. Right. So I don't think people appreciate R&B music like they used to. Not at all.
Okay. So are you open? Are you working? I know you have a new artist you're working with. Yes. Say someone that's watching this platform, they watch the replay, they're sharing, and they want to work with you, what's the best way to contact you?
They can reach out to me on IG at Keynote, KEYNOTE 2117 on Instagram, Facebook, SiFred Mitchell. Send me a request. Don't be crazy. But reach out to me. My partner and I, we do everything from production, artist development, brand management, creative director stuff. So just reach out to us, and anything that we can do to help guide a company, an artist, we're there, Okay. So, but KWard Music on IG, Jason Rutley, remember the name. And one more thing, his new single, Bless My Soul, is going to be an EP unlike any other EP. Oh. It is a remix EP with every song in every genre.
Ooh.
Almost, but it targets different audiences, and you're gonna love it. He's an amazing talent, an amazing voice, and there's a lot more to come from him. So follow him on Instagram, KWard Music, and Keynote 2117.
I love it. And my last question, and my producer's like, what would you say has been your greatest lesson you've learned getting to this point in your career?
Like I said earlier, just believing in myself and trusting my instincts, and when it comes to the musical side, the vocal side of it, Luther told me this many years ago when I had an opportunity to meet my idol for the first time. And he said, be your own interpreter of song.
I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, producer, singer, songwriter, A&R consultant, Mr. SiFred Mitchell. My brother, thank you so much for coming on the show. Please come back.
Thank you for having me, Jazzy. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you.
Please, I'm telling you, I probably had like 30 more questions, and he'd like, no.
Part two coming.
Part two coming. And could you stick around for just a few minutes?
Absolutely. I'm gonna watch the whole thing.
Okay, I appreciate it. Hey, everybody, thank you so much again. I'm Jazzie KWard, your host for Artist Talk. Again, it's Black Music Month, it's Pride Month, it's Mental Health Month, and I'm all about support. I'm supporting my friend Sonic. You see his hat right here? Sonic. Check him out. All these amazing artists. I'm checking out Todrick Jermaine, all that. Everybody, support music. It's all about music. Support my friend and brother, SiFred Mitchell. Go get his music, his website. SiFredMitchell.com is the website. Go download all of his music. It's available on all streaming platforms. KWard Radio, again, is my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. KWardRadio.com is my website. If you would like to send me some of your music, there's my mailing address right there. If you would like to support the show, no gift or it's too small. Thank you all so much. Join me each and every Saturday, Alabama State University, 90.7 WVAS. Thank you so much to Dr. G, Dr. Chantel Graham. Please support her and her book, Nia the Germinator. Thank you so much, Chef D. Thank you to each and every one of you in the comments section who go back and watch the replay. Trust me, I see each and every one of you. I promise. Thank you all so much. Until we see each other next time, remember, make sure you take care of yourself and always be kind to others. We'll see you next time.
The dream came true and proved me wrong. Who would have thought the love so good? Every day with you is perfect and it feels so good. I can't believe what we got going on. It's like the dream came true and proved me wrong. Who would have thought the love so good? Every day with you is perfect and it feels so good. We got a good thing going on, but baby, hanging on our love, no, because it's paradise, like a secret getaway. We don't have rainy days, cause the sun smiles on our faces. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. Ooh, la, la, la.
It's the Jazzie culture.